Eva, 20 years old, lived in a tidy, red-brick semi-detached house in Clapham, South London. Adulthood, for her, was currently just a crisp white cotton t-shirt and well-fitted blue jeans, a uniform of effortless deception. Her mother, Sarah, 48, a dedicated logistics manager who had single-handedly built a secure life for them both, trusted Eva implicitly. That trust, Eva would soon learn, was far more fragile than she imagined. On a gray Thursday, Sarah's phone rang insistently during a budget review. The call from King's College Student Welfare revealed the truth. Eva had missed 78% of her core lectures. The promise of university, the single most important investment of their lives, was about to be revoked. Sarah rushed home early to find her daughter laughing on the sofa, blissfully unaware. When Sarah stood in the doorway, her voice low but steady, Eva froze. This wasn't a lecture. This was the dismantling of a foundation. Sarah didn't sit. She retrieved the smooth wooden hairbrush, a relic of past, simpler corrections, from the side table drawer. The first strike was not anger, but the sound of broken trust made tangible. Eva lived in Clapham, South London. The red brick homes and tree-shaded streets represented the stability Sarah, 48, had fought for since Eva was 8. Eva, 20 years old, a communications student, dressed in her uniform, crisp white cotton t-shirt and well-fitted blue jeans. This outfit was perfect for blending into lecture halls, or, as it turned out, for hiding the fact that she wasn't going to them. Sarah, 48, a senior logistics manager, measured her life in managed routes and successful deliveries. Her greatest delivery had been Eva's education. "You're clever, Eva," she'd often say, smoothing Eva's sun-bleached blonde hair after late-night A-level study sessions. "Don't waste it." But the suffocating pressure of the second year had caused Eva to crack. Lectures felt dull, assignments overwhelming. The future was a vast, terrifying ocean, and Eva decided to simply float near the shore. She'd skip one class, then two, then entire weeks. She maintained the facade perfectly, telling Sarah she was at workshops, meeting tutors, or studying at the British Library. Sarah's implicit trust was the shield Eva hid behind. It was a shield that shattered on a gray Thursday in late October. While Sarah was in a budget review, her phone rang 3 times from an unknown number. That third call, from Dr. Helen Marsh at King's College, was the catalyst. The numbers were undeniable: 78% absence. Formal concerns filed. Immediate academic review threatened expulsion. Sarah canceled everything. She took the next overground train home, the journey feeling like a descent into a nightmare. She walked through the front door earlier than she had in years, her heart pounding a frantic rhythm against her ribs. There was Eva, curled on the living room sofa, oblivious, wearing the same white t-shirt and jeans, barefoot, laughing at something on her phone. The scene was the picture of contented laziness. "Eva," Sarah said. The single word cut the air. Eva looked up, startled, her sun-bleached blonde ponytail swinging slightly. "Mom, what are you doing home?" Early. Sarah didn't move from the doorway. She stood framed by the hall, arms crossed, her eyes tight with held-back tears. "King's College called me today. Dr. Marsh detailed everything." The color drained instantly from Eva's face. Her phone screen dimmed in her slack grip. "Oh, I was going to tell you," Eva stammered, clutching her phone tighter. "I've just been really stressed. I needed space." "Space," Sarah echoed, the word brittle. She stepped forward. "They said you haven't attended any of your core seminars since September. You told me you were at the library last Tuesday. Were you, Eva?" Eva looked down, focusing intently on the stitching of her blue jeans, unable to meet her mother's gaze. I went for a walk instead. I couldn't focus. And the week before, and the one before that." The silence that followed was absolute, broken only by the soft tapping of the October rain against the Clapham window. "Look at me." "Eva," Sarah commanded, her voice gaining a steady, dangerous pitch. Reluctantly, Eva raised her eyes. What she saw wasn't explosive anger, but a deeper, more devastating emotion, profound disappointment. This hurt Eva more than any shout could have. "I trusted you," Sarah whispered, her voice shaking slightly. "I worked double shifts last year so you wouldn't have to take out extra loans. And you've been lying to my face while throwing it all away. You've treated our promise like garbage." Ava's lip began to quiver. "I didn't mean to destroy it." "You chose this," Sarah interrupted, her tone suddenly hardening, taking on the resolution of a logistics manager finalizing a difficult, necessary reroute. "And choices have consequences. You have to face the consequence of breaking my trust." Sarah led Eva into the living room, stopping before the large, comfortable armchair. This chair had witnessed childhood reprimands for sneaking sweets or talking back, light corrections that were now a distant memory. For Eva, an adult of 20, the expectation of anything physical was unthinkable until she saw her mother's face. "Come here," Sarah said quietly. Gesturing to the seat, Eva hesitated, shame burning fiercely in her chest. Slowly, she walked over. After a deep breath, she lowered herself across her mother's lap, just as she had done as a child. Her white t-shirt bunched uncomfortably at her waist, and her blue jeans pulled tight across her legs as she bent forward. She buried her face in the cushion, her heart hammering against her ribs. From a side table drawer, a drawer Eva never knew existed, Sarah retrieved the smooth wooden hairbrush. It was a relic, kept for moments of last resort. A tool from a stricter parenting era they both thought was long past. "This isn't because I'm angry, Eva," Sarah said, her voice thick with emotion, though her hand holding the brush was steady. "It's because I love you too much to let you destroy your entire future without feeling the cost first. You need to understand the weight of what you've done." Swat. The first stroke was firm, sharp, hitting through the denim. This was for the lying swat. The second stroke, hitting slightly lower. This was for wasting the opportunity swat. The third stroke, delivered with measured, unwavering force. This was for breaking my implicit trust. Eva gasped, the sharp sting demanding her full attention, shocking her out of her self-pitying haze. "Do you understand the value of what you risked?" Sarah asked, pausing briefly. Eva squeezed her eyes shut. I see it now," she choked out. "I got scared of failing, so I just stopped trying and I lied about it." Swat. The fourth stroke, a confirmation of her admission. Swat. The fifth stroke, driving the point home. "You ran away from responsibility," Sarah stated. Swat. The sixth stroke was the final measure. It was delivered with authority, the force communicating the depth of Sarah's commitment to her daughter's success. By the sixth impact, Eva was sobbing openly, her sun-bleached blonde hair falling across her face. The physical sensation was intense, but it was the raw emotion behind it, the visible heartbreak of her single mother, that truly broke her. When it was over, Sarah gently helped Eva sit up. Eva didn't pull away or protest. She leaned heavily against her mother's strong shoulder. Her cheeks were flushed, her eyes red-rimmed, and her white cotton t-shirt was damp against her skin. She looked small, vulnerable, and utterly contrite. "I'm so sorry, Mom," Eva whispered, the words carrying genuine remorse. "Not just for skipping class, but for making you feel like your love wasn't enough. I was just scared I'd fail, so I ran." Sarah held her daughter tightly, stroking her blonde hair. "It always was enough, Ava, but you have to meet me halfway. You have to walk the path yourself. You chose to lie and hide. The consequence had to be just as real as the lie." Eva didn't sleep that night. She sat at her desk, laptop open, staring at the blank email draft addressed to Dr. Marsh. For the first time in months, the usual fog of anxiety and apathy was gone, replaced by a crystalline clarity. She wasn't focusing on the fear of failure. She was focusing on the immediate, actionable steps required for repair. She typed, her fingers moving with newfound purpose. Honestly, I've been struggling profoundly with motivation and accountability. I take full responsibility for my absences. I want to create an immediate, measurable plan to catch up and prove my commitment to the program. Then she turned to a sheet of lined paper and wrote to her mother. Mom, I am so sorry. Thank you for not giving up on me, even when I gave up on myself. Thank you for making me face this. I promise to earn back your trust every day from now on. Love, Eva. She left the note on the kitchen table, the single place in the house Sarah always started her day. In the ensuing weeks, the transformation was visible. Eva attended every single lecture. Her white t-shirt and blue jeans remained her uniform, but now they were paired with a campus lanyard, a determined stride, and focused eyes. She met with her tutor, signed up for academic mentoring, and even joined an intensive peer study group. The recovery was slow, requiring late nights, but it was honest work. Sarah watched her 20-year-old daughter leave for the tube, each morning backpack slung purposefully over one shoulder, earbuds in, but her gaze fixed ahead. The trust hadn't instantly returned, but the evidence of repair was accumulating daily. One quiet Sunday morning, they shared breakfast. The silence between them was no longer strained. It was the comfortable silence of shared effort. Eva poured tea into her mother's favorite cream mug, one sugar, just as Sarah liked it. It was a small detail, one Eva had surely known before, but now, performing it felt like a conscious act of care. Not just habit. As Eva handed her the mug, Sarah reached across the small kitchen table and squeezed her daughter's hand firmly. No grand speech was needed. Eva smiled softly, a genuine smile that reached her eyes. No speeches, Mom. Just thank you for not letting me run away from myself. Sarah nodded, returning the pressure. Just keep showing up, Eva. That's all I ever wanted. Love means seeing the potential, even when you're covering it up. Outside the Clapham window, London was bustling on the rain-slicked pavements, distant sirens, the rumble of buses. But inside their little house, something vital had been restored. It wasn't the old naive trust, but something harder, stronger, a renewed covenant built on honesty, accountability, and the quiet, stubborn hope that comes when someone finally chooses to try again. Eva knew the path would be steep, but for the first time in a long time, she was walking it honestly, holding her mother's lesson close. The commitment Eva, 20, showed in the subsequent months was absolute. She attacked her catch-up work with the focused intensity her mother had always known she possessed. The initial shock of the paddling, the sharp, undeniable sting of the hairbrush against her blue jeans, had served its function. It had broken the spell of self-deception that had held her captive. She began to view the experience not as a shameful event, but as a harsh, necessary pivot point. She realized that Sarah's, 48, discipline wasn't rooted in petty tyranny, but in the fierce, protective love of a single parent who had sacrificed everything for this single opportunity. Eva couldn't bear the thought of repaying that sacrifice with lies and wasted potential. Eva started making small, conscious changes that accumulated into major internal shifts. She kept her small room tidy not out of fear, but out of respect for the space she inhabited. She stopped using her phone as a shield, opting instead to use it for productive communication, scheduling study sessions, and sending her mother thoughtful, simple updates about her day. One evening, about 3 months after the incident, Eva was making dinner, a simple pasta dish, when Sarah arrived home. looking weary from a long day managing logistical crises for the NGO. Rough one? Eva asked immediately, turning from the stove. She wasn't just being polite. She was genuinely checking in, a new habit of emotional awareness. The usual, Sarah sighed, setting her briefcase down. A shipment stalled in customs. Everything depends on me keeping my head clear. I made sure the accounts for this month are fully reconciled on the shared spreadsheet. Mom, Eva offered, stirring the sauce. And I booked that online tutoring session for your complicated data analysis module next week. It's a specialist, so it cost a bit, but I used the savings from the textbooks I didn't buy when I was skipping class. Sarah looked at her daughter, 20 years old, standing confidently in a clean navy apron over her white t-shirt, and felt a wave of emotion, so strong it almost buckled her knees. This wasn't about the spreadsheet. It was about the initiative, the foresight, the accountability. Thank you, Eva. That means more than you know, Sarah managed, her voice thick. It's what adults do. Mom, Eva replied, turning the heat down. They don't just show up. They anticipate. The final resolution wasn't marked by a grand gesture, but by a quiet evening spent reviewing Eva's improved grades. Her tutor had written glowing remarks on her recent performance review, citing her dramatic turnaround and renewed focus. Sarah held the report, her eyes shining. She reached across the table and touched Eva's hand, the same hand that had once clutched the hairbrush in shame. I am so proud of the woman you are becoming, Eva. You didn't just save your degree, you saved your own sense of self. Eva leaned in, resting her forehead briefly against her mother's. The quiet trust was rebuilt, stronger this time, forged in the heat of accountability. The little house in Clapham, once the backdrop for deception, was now a sanctuary of renewed purpose. Do you believe? The method of discipline used by Sarah, 48, a physical. Correction with a childhood tool was appropriate for a 20-year-old adult who had broken a deep level of trust. Why or why not? What is more important in the long run? The immediate correction of behavior or the emotional reassurance and support that followed, as shown by Sarah's later actions?